Welcome back. Session is in full swing, and today we have a couple guests with us from Mehu to tell us all about it. We have Kevin Kinnally and Natasha Mehu. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having
The
us.
experts.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about Mehu? What is Mehu?
So Mehu is the Maryland Association of Counties. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization in Annapolis. We are comprised of Maryland's 23 counties in Baltimore City, and we represent the interest of the counties in Baltimore City to the General Assembly in Annapolis.
And you guys provide a lot of the technical assistance to the counties, right? You kind of get them all on the same page, do the research, and find out what everybody's interested in at the same time to...
So we certainly do a lot of the technical stuff in the research, as you said. Specifically, when General Assembly is in session, we have a legislative committee who meets every week, and that legislative committee is comprised of every county and Baltimore City, so the 23 counties in Baltimore City. Each county gets one vote, and the city gets one vote. And what happens is they look at all of the bills that have been introduced that week that affect local governments and counties in Maryland. They take positions on those bills, and then Natasha and I, the rest of the staff at Mehu, we go and advocate on their behalf to the General Assembly. And Emily, I know you've been in the room and you know how that process works very well.
And we talked about this last week about how this is an election year.
Yes.
So you don't really know what's going to happen, except there's going to be plenty of, you know, who shot John kind of stuff. We don't really know how much legislation they're going to pass, but we've heard some of the big ones, right? Sports betting at the casinos possibly, which I'm sure a lot of people are interested in that. The effects of the federal tax legislation and how that's going to affect Maryland. And a lot of stuff around the Me Too, sexual harassment type issues. And some of that may be in-house stuff that they're dealing with in the legislature, not so much laws that impact Maryland, although we could see that too. So tell us, now Mehu comes from a kind of different angle on this. What's your biggest issue, Natasha, coming into the session this year?
All right, so Mehu, we have four legislative priorities.
Four.
Yes. So one of the issues that's primary for us is smart and strong school construction funding. And so county governments and the state both partner together to fund school construction. A recent estimate showed that school construction costs over the past 5 years have increased 50%. And so what we're advocating for there is to ensure that there's strong funding to meet the increase in those costs, and also smart use of construction funding to ensure that the schools meet modern technology needs, safety concerns, and other issues to ensure that the kids are in a good school.
So you talked to people at Kinnally on that.
Yes.
I think Kinnally has a few thoughts on that. Tell me about...
Well, there is a committee that is looking at school construction, and
She watches with me in the
I do.
audience. every
Yeah.
day.
Kevin and I
Yeah.
sit
takes
in the very
notes.
back. She takes notes and say, did you hear what I just heard?
We do.
Tell us a little bit about it's called Next Gen 911. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of our initiatives is advancing Maryland's 911 systems, and specifically getting to next generation 911, as you said. Next generation 911, it's a big issue. We could spend hours talking about it, but to sum it up, it's the ability to not only call 911, but the ability to text, send photos, send videos, and also improved location accuracy. So what happens is that when the systems were built, they were built in the landline era, and everybody used to call 911 from the landlines. Now 80% of 911 calls are made from cell phones. A lot of people don't even have landlines. And so when you call 911, sometimes you may have a hard time locating that phone. So the example I give all the time is if you dial an Uber from your iPhone and you call an Uber, Uber knows exactly where you are because they're utilizing your GPS technology that's embedded in your smartphone. When you dial 911, the system is still working by triangulating your location based off cell phone towers. So if you lost connection with that 911 call and you weren't able to tell the operator exactly where you were, they would know sort of where you are. They'd have a general idea, but they may not know your exact location. So next generation 911 will fix that ideally, and much better location accuracy, and it's what our citizens expect and deserve. And because 911 is a county function, it's one of our 4 legislative priorities.
Any idea how much this is going to cost?
So
lot.
what we want to do is we're advocating to create a commission, actually, to bring all of the experts into the room, the folks that are on the ground every day, and get them together so that they can price this out. They can find out exactly what we need to do to get there. And then within the next few years, hopefully we'll be able to determine things like the exact cost and what exactly we need to do. But for now, we feel it's important to just get everybody on the same page and figure out the landscape before we move forward.
I'm sure everybody agrees that we need that. That's pretty much a no-brainer.
We hope so.
Yeah, so what are the last 2, Natasha? What else do we have other than those 2?
Well, we also have aligning the Public Information Act to align with modern technologies.
Oh, okay.
And so, so here, if you think of drones, police body cameras, robots, and other things that first responders use, potentially they can go into really sensitive private situations. And so what we're looking to do is balance the transparency aspects of the Public Information Act, but also protect sensitive information.
Got it.
And it's not just these new technologies, it's also online citizen engagement.
Social media.
Right,
all that
but
stuff.
you want to ensure that private citizen email addresses aren't openly shared, or social security information. So it's just making sure, as we continue in this modern age, that the Public Information Act aligns with those new technologies and ways of interacting with the public.
Okay. And then what's the last one?
The last one.
Yeah, so Lift for Maryland is our infrastructure initiative, and what we're calling on is for state, local, federal governments to invest in infrastructure. And highway user revenues have been a big issue for us for a long time. Those are essentially the money that come from gas taxes, titling fees, and other fees that you pay at the state level. For many years, it was a 70-30 split. The state took 70%, local governments took 30%. And that was in state statute. When the recession hit, our shares were cut by around 90%. So that's all the money that we use to maintain local roads, and we actually maintain about 83% of the roads in Maryland. So it was a big cut, as you can imagine, 90%. But so we're advocating for those to be restored to their historic levels, but we also are talking about things like bridges, schools, 911, broadband. That's all infrastructure, and we're looking for the state and federal government to fund infrastructure so that we as local governments are able to expand our services and ensure that we have safe, reliable infrastructure. It's an economic booster as well as critical for safety, obviously, and the well-being of our citizens.
Is there amongst the 4
biggest priority, or are they all equally as important?
They're all equally as important.
They really are.
I mean, really, we start off with a list of a lot. We actually have an initiatives committee that goes through and pares that down. And so to get to the final 4 means that they're all very, very important. So we're working hard on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we started out with 30 or 40, so it is quite a process.
You can't have 30 or 40.
No, we're limited to 4. But that doesn't mean that we don't weigh in on the wide range of issues that impact local governments. And you have Kevin and I here today, but we have a team of policy people that go and advocate on everything from environment and planning and zoning, taxes, budget, transportation, fiscal issues, the whole gamut.
It's an amazing resource. I can't tell you how incredibly thankful and grateful I am for Mehu to pick up the phone and be able to say, "Hi, have you guys looked at this before?"
We work for you in all the counties.
Yes, we have some information for you, Aim. So thank you. And I'm sure I will be making those calls again this session.
Anytime.
And speaking of which, how do people find out more about Mehu?
So you can follow us. We have a Conduit Street blog. We also have a Conduit Street podcast. Twitter, Facebook. You can find us at mdcounties.org. Our blog is conduitstreet.mdcounties.org. And Maryland Association of Counties on Facebook, MD Counties on Twitter.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. It was a pleasure, and I will be seeing you
You
regularly. Here we go.
Yes. Thanks very much.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this message.